All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Luke, and I'm the music director here. And to start off this service, we are going to have two hymns. Hymn number 101, Abide With Me, followed by hymn 1012, Lean on Me. Abide with me, fast falls the eventide. The darkness deepens, still with me abide. When others helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, so abide with me. Swift to its close ebbs out life's little day. Earth's joys grow dim, its glories pass away. Change and decay in all around I see. Oh, thou who changes not, abide with me. I fear no foe, with thee at hand to bless. Ills have no weight, and tears no bitterness. Where is death's sting? Where grave thy victory? I triumph still if thou abide with me. Sometime in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road just call me, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
Good morning. Welcome to UUCC. My name is Pat Feuer, and I'm very happy to be your lay leader this morning. Welcome to those of you in the sanctuary, those of us joining via YouTube or Zoom, and a special welcome to our visitors this morning. Curious about our UU faith? We encourage your questions, and we have literature in the lobby and in the community room. So please stick around for coffee and conversation after the service. And today is also a soup Sunday, so stick around for lunch, soup lunch. And for those of you joining remotely, we encourage you to attend the Zoom coffee hour following the service. Now, images of the congregation may be shared on social media, and if you don't wish to be seen on social media, there are seats available at the back of the sanctuary. Please refrain from talking while we are live, as the house microphones may pick up your conversation and broadcast it to the wider community. And please turn off your cell phones so that we can avoid streaming disruptions or any interruptions in the service. The Little Brick Church on Shaver Road in Portage with a rainbow flag and the Black Lives Matter banner is our home. We sit on the ancestral lands of the Peoria and the Potawatomi peoples, and we pay our respects to the elders, the past, present, and emerging. We believe that love is love, and it is our responsibility to dismantle white supremacy and build a beloved community that benefits all of us. Our spiritual journeys are diverse, our community is compassionate, inclusive, and united by love. The church is served most Sundays by our minister, Reverend G. Ludwig McCartney, but this Sunday, Patrick and Arias, members of the Recovery Institute, will speak about what RI does and their own successful journeys toward health, wellness, and hope. To learn more about our church, including our programs for children and youth, and other opportunities to connect with us during the week, visit our website, uucommunity.org. uucommunitychurch.org. And a special thanks to everyone who's helping to make this morning's service possible, our tech team, our coffee hosts, our soup chefs, our greeters, and of course you. And I would, on a personal note, I'd like to congratulate the Western Michigan University men's hockey team, the NCAA Frozen Four champions last night. They bested Boston 6-2. And it's the first national title for WMU since the 1964 and 1965 men's cross-country teams. So lots of accolades for the hockey team and for Western. Now some announcements. Periodically, the UU Community Church holds special Generosity Sundays. They're collections to support local organizations that promote justice, equity, and inclusion in our community. During the month of April, we will be collecting donations to support the Recovery Institute, whose life-giving work you're going to hear about today. If you'd like to contribute to the special offering for the Recovery Institute, there are a few ways to give. You can place a check made out to UUCC with Generosity Sunday in the memo. You can place that in the offering basket anytime in April. And you can also mail a check to our building. If you prefer to use a debit or a credit card, give online using the church website or the Vanco app on your phone. And be sure to choose Generosity Sunday in the menu. If you prefer to give cash, we will be donating all of the cash and the loose change in today's offering plate today to the Recovery Institute. Your generosity helps make our community a better place for all. We hope you will join us in supporting the Institute's critical work because together we can make a difference. The next Mindful Living session, led by Eric Nelson, will take place on Monday, April 14th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. All are welcome to join for an hour of mindfulness, practice, and discussion. Visit our website for login information. The Civil Conversations Group meets on Zoom each month to practice emotional intelligence skills and learn how to build bridges toward greater understanding in the world through thoughtful conversation. At their next meeting on Wednesday, April 16th at 7 p.m., they explore reclaiming the feminine principle. So newcomers are welcome to join the conversation and visit our website for login information. We hope you will come and enjoy Easter Sunday on April 20th with your UUCC family and friends. Reverend G and Miriam are working together on a joy-filled, multi-generational service that will feature an Easter parade and egg hunt for people of all ages. Everyone is encouraged to wear their finest spring or Easter bonnet to church so that they can be part of the fun. And now, our annual giving campaign kicked off April 1st. Our spiritual community is funded in large part by generous contributions of people like you. UUCC member Nikki Lee will now join us to share why she supports the UUCC.
Hi, I'm Nikki Lee. And when I was first asked to do this, my immediate reaction was no. I'm not used to standing up in front of people. But that's one of the reasons UU is important to me, is because of the acceptance. You come here and you're immediately accepted. So I figured, well, if I stumble or miss the word or forget the word, because of my age, I forget words. No, it'll be okay. You're going to accept me. But you also had a different form of acceptance for me. In 2003, my partner Robbie and I were taking a trip back east, and one of the places we were going to go was Niagara Falls. Well, Canada had just legalized gay marriage. It still wasn't legal in this country. So being in Niagara Falls, all you have to do is cross a bridge. And so called Canada, said, okay, how do we go about this? And they said, you have to find a clergy. Well, I was a-religious, so I knew nobody, and Robbie was Methodist, so we could forget that. And so they suggested we call the local Unitarian and gave us the number. And they, of course, said yes. We said, we're going to be in Niagara Falls on this day, this time. Oh, no problems. We can accommodate whatever is necessary. And so that's what we did. We went over to Canada. We got married. And when we went back home, it was like, maybe I should look into this weird religion. And in our small town in Glenwood at the time, Glenwood Springs, there was a fellowship. There wasn't any church. It wasn't big enough for a church. And again, everybody there was absolutely accepting of the two of us coming and starting to go there. And so the acceptance was one of the reasons. And then once I started learning more about it, and it was this, I don't know how to explain the second portion of it. It's sort of lean on me. There's a lot of support. It was a lot of I needed mental stimulation more than spiritual stimulation. And I got that. I hear sometimes I fight the spiritual with Eric. No offense to Eric, but it's like I'm not really a spiritualist. But the mental stimulation, but just always support. You knew that if you went there, you were going to know people. You were going to be able to maybe go out for coffee with a friend, be able to talk about just about anything. And I lived in a number of places. I move a lot, apparently. I don't think of myself that way, but I do. And everywhere I went, I found the Unitarian Church because it was immediate. You're welcome. If you need anything, if you need to learn anything about where you are now, they were there. They were somebody to lean on. And so that's those two reasons really are why I would say everybody should be UU. We're very supportive in the community. We're very accepting of anybody who walks in the door. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki, for speaking from the heart. Pledged materials that explain how you can support UUCC's mission and activities for the next church year should have arrived in your mailbox already. If you did not receive a packet and would like one, please contact Ron Kroll and he will get you one. We ask that you return your pledge cards by April 20th. We also hope that you will join us on Saturday, April 26th at 5 p.m. to wrap up our giving campaign. There will be a delicious dinner and fun activities provided for us by the Stewardship Committee. Visit the website to RSVP to our celebration of generosity by April the 20th. And now, before we light the chalice, I have a few words from Lisa Doege. D-O-E-G-E. Okay? D-O-E-G-E. I'm sure no relation. What if sometimes it's not about a light in the darkness? What if sometimes it's about sparking potential into possibility and possibility into existence? What if sometimes the flame that burns in the chalice of our faith is nothing less than the ember of hope and nothing more than love set ablaze? What if we dare to kindle that chalice? And now we will light the chalice. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Our reading today is from Lynn Cox. It's called The Invitation to Join the Journey. Come, you accidental pilgrims, you who find yourself on a journey of surprise and wonder. Come, you who emerge into this place as an act of liberation. Come, you who seek a life of mindfulness and a place to test your thoughts. Come, you who bring hearts of all kinds, heavy hearts, rusty hearts, hearts broken open in revelation, hearts full of love to share. Come, you who seek courage, and you who have more courage than you realize. Come, you who stand behind the curtain, gathering up the resources to claim your truth. Come, You who have been in a bubble, you are poised for transformation.
Darkness cannot drive away darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive away hatred. Only love can do that. All you soldiers of peace, hatred has an enemy. If you want the fighting to cease, remember these words from the fallen King. Darkness cannot drive away darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive away hatred. Only love can do that. We all must try to be an instrument of peace. Remember, an eye for an eye leaves everyone blind, and the children never see. Darkness cannot drive away darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive away hatred. Only love can do that. Only love can heal. Only love can take the fear away. Only love is real. Only love will come to save the day. Darkness cannot drive away darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive away hatred. Only love can do that.
Good morning, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Julie Calaman. I've been a member here off and on since 2015. Our speakers this morning are from Recovery Institute of Southwest Michigan, which is a place that helps people in recovery from mental illnesses and addictions. I became a member there in 2015, and RI, along with this congregation, have meant the world to me in my own recovery journey. And I was the person who had the idea to have our speakers today and have these folks tell you more about what recovery is, their recovery journey, and how sometimes recovery is a concept that surprises some people who are not in the recovery community when they learn more about the people involved with it. And it's a lot of good news. So another thing about Recovery Institute is that it's very focused on peers helping one another, as opposed to a top-down imposed method of healing. And that too is a gift as far as I'm concerned. It's been a godsend in my life. So without further chatter here, which one of you is going first? Okay, this is Arias. This is the first time I met Arias today, so I don't know much to say, but I'm sure Arias will have plenty to tell you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. Something I'd like to share also is about what RI does. We have support groups that we offer throughout the week, both virtually and in person. Those are led by peers that have also struggled with mental health concerns or substance use concerns. We have one-on-one peer support that we offer to our community members for those that are struggling. And then we also do this, which is Power Group, where we go around the community and we share our stories of recovery so that we can give hope, break down stigma against mental health concerns and substance use concerns, and get more people involved. My name is Arias Cruz, and to me, recovery is realizing that taking care of myself, body and mind, is paramount to my success and my relationships with others. As a child, I really struggled with mental health. I was self-harming from age 11, and when the doctors found out, my mother decided to stop taking me to seek medical care altogether, as she believed I was doing it solely for attention. I was also the kid that was involved with everything: sports, scouting, piano lessons, advanced classes, you name it, I did it. But I struggled silently. I routinely couldn't finish assignments, especially on time, and I know I frustrated teacher after teacher. At home, I was horrifically depressed, bullied by my peers, and suffering abuse from my mother while my father wasn't around. As soon as I could work at 16, I got a job, and I saved every penny I could until I could afford my first car. As soon as I turned 18, I left the hateful town that I was born into. I went to college because with loans, it was the only place I could afford housing, and then summers I either lived in company housing for work or was homeless. During holiday breaks, I often stayed with friends if they would have me. I was homeless during the polar vortex, and I remember being so cold, but also grateful to have some place to store food so it wouldn't go bad because I could use my car as a freezer. My first year at college, I also experienced multiple sexual assaults due to the highs and lows of my condition and to the introduction of alcohol. I was drinking way too much, partying during my highs, and drowning myself during my lows. My third year of college, I had my first episode of psychosis, and I was too scared to tell anyone because I knew it wasn't real. But I would see figures or eyes watching me around campus, following me. I was hospitalized for the first time that winter and again in the spring. At that point, I had dropped out of school on medical leave, and a week later, COVID hit. At this point in time, my partner and I had just found an apartment, and we spent the entirety of the peak of the pandemic trying to not get evicted. We went hungry a lot. At this point, all my mental health care also stopped for me when I needed it most. My condition continued to spiral worse without the proper meds and therapies, and especially without my basic needs being met. Then the 2020 protest started, and I was assaulted by the police downtown during a protest. This led to extreme paranoia and impulsive behaviors and another psychotic episode. I impulsively spent almost a month's worth of paychecks on a van that didn't even run because I became convinced that the government was going to become more hostile towards the queer community, and I needed a plan to escape the country with my loved ones. With something based in reality of what was going on in the country, the Proud Boys coming to Kalamazoo, and the insurrection, my paranoia infected my friends and family as well. I scared a lot of people that I care about. Things also took a turn in 2020 as I suddenly started to lose the ability to walk, and I threw myself into fixing my body instead of my mind. The doctors couldn't tell me what was going on and told me I may never walk again. I jumped into a new job in mental health that worked well for a while, as it was a work-from-home position that required me to sit all day, but that ended in a partial hospitalization due to the heavy emotional nature of the work. I thought if I could help others, I could help myself, but instead I just became more traumatized. Finally, doctors had identified my physical issues, but they gave me a life expectancy of only 35. I left that job for my dream job, where I thought I had finally made it out of poverty, my only goal to buy a home to be able to die comfortably in. But I lost that job a few months later after being told if they knew I was this disabled, they wouldn't have hired me in the first place. I was shattered as I felt I was running out of time to find stability before my condition worsened. Shattered because I was convinced that after a lifetime of working multiple jobs, no one would want to hire me again. The day I was fired, I attempted my first planned suicide attempt, and while I survived, I found out 2 days later my best friend from early childhood had passed away from her own substance use disorder at only 23. I then got the news that my life expectancy was now 65, but she died before I could tell her. This was my breaking point. I sunk into the deepest grief-filled depression of my life, and I went to Recovery Institute for the first time. I thought they would judge me because they knew me from my old job. I thought they would judge me for being fired, but they didn't. That summer was awful. I lost another friend to poverty, and my cousin to substance use disorder at also 23. I worked a few more jobs that I continued to lose due to my physical health, and finally, exhausted, I got the courage to choose me and apply for disability. I realized that I couldn't keep going like I had been all my life, and I was tired. I got top surgery and started hormone replacement therapy, affirming my gender instead of letting that sit on the sidelines. I got a therapist that was trans and disabled, so I could finally start receiving care from someone who could get past what made me different. And I got a psychiatrist that understood that police intervention was traumatizing, so I could finally open up about my symptoms. At 24, I finally got diagnosed with bipolar disorder and was put on the meds that actually helped my spikes of low depression and high mania. While a lot of my basic needs are still unmet, while I've been waiting on disability since November of 2023, I have friends and family that support me. I have the tools to use when I'm having a hard time. I sit at the board of Recovery Institute, which means the world to me. I have spoken at Peach Jam on mental health, and I've returned to college last fall to finish my degree in social work. I've also been in housing since 2019 and work with We the People for tenants' rights. Medication wasn't a magic fix. It was hard, but I realized that doing hard things was and is worth it, especially when it came to taking care and bettering myself. While things aren't easy, I'm happy to announce that I was approved for disability. I start getting paychecks next month, and I'll have an income again. I have tools and skills in the community to support me, and now at 26, I'm in long-term recovery. Thank you.
Thanks, Rias. Okay, I'm Patrick. Chelsea was going to present today. She was not feeling well, so I'm always the backup person. So I'm the coordinator for Power Group. My story is different from a lot of Power Group members. There's always similarities and differences. That's what makes us, keeps things interesting. But for me, my childhood was mostly easy, comfortable. I had everything I needed. Probably my only difficulty was that my dad was busy with work and had sort of a temper issue, but nothing extreme. But I did get into a little bit of depression in the 5th grade, moving from California to Michigan. The change in weather, you can imagine, was not desirable. But later in my life, I actually did choose to move. I ended up in California again, but I chose to move back to Kalamazoo because, for whatever reason, I still love it here. Ultimately, I am able to deal with the weather and just look at the positives. But so through middle school and into high school, I did suffer with what I think was probably diagnosable depression. And I think part of the problem is I was trying to fit in with the crowd that I thought my dad would want me to fit in with, you know, like sort of the kids of his coworkers and that whole crowd. And really, my crowd was more the artistic type. And fortunately, but unfortunately, I found the punk rock crowd. I still have some friends that I'm still connected with from there. So they were great. They were accepting. They were like, you know, the crazier you are, the better. And I thought that was great. I could just be who I was no matter what. The downside was that they were into drugs. Not blaming them, because I had already made a decision to get into drugs before I'd even tried them. I was like, that's what I want to do. I just, you know, I was enticed by, you know, the offer of like euphoria, intense experiences, supernatural experiences. That's really what I was going for. Nowadays, when I do Power Group, I tell the young people, you can have all those things without drugs. You know, you can explore spirituality, you can read books, meditation. There's all kinds of things you can do. And I can tell people honestly now that I wish I had never done drugs. I would have been better off without. I did not need them. I could have achieved all the things I wanted and much, much more without them. I've actually suffered some memory issues and related things because of drugs, a lot of chemical imbalances. And really, throughout those high school days, doing things like using LSD every weekend with my friends, because, you know, there'd be days I didn't want to use it, but they all were, and I didn't want to be the odd man out, so I would use with them. It was not a good combination for somebody like me who already had a tendency towards schizophrenia. So even smoking weed once or twice can trigger schizophrenia if you're susceptible. So to do LSD every weekend was really not a good thing. So I made it through high school, but when I went to college, I went to Pennsylvania because my cousin worked there at a college and stayed with him. And things seemed okay on the surface, but I had little things that were sort of questionable. At one point, I met this girl, and I told a friend before I went to college, I'm going to meet a girl. I'm going to look in her eyes. I'm going to know she's the one. It's going to be like destiny, and then we're going to get married and have these kids, and it's going to be great. And I just had this in my head. Maybe I'd watched too many romantic movies. I don't know, something like that. And I also was walking through campus one day, and I was watching someone walk past me, and a little voice in my head said a comment about that person. And it was something funny, kind of poking fun at the person, but I just cracked up laughing right there. And I thought, like, wow, that's amazing. Somebody can be inside my head and see what I'm seeing and make a comment about somebody. That's really interesting. Like, wow, have I achieved the supernatural? This is great. So more about that in a minute. But the girl, I ended up seeing this girl that I had imagined, So I look in her eyes and it's destiny, and I ask her on a date, and she says yes. And for whatever reason, that doesn't play out. Later on, she's like, I've got a boyfriend, it's not going to work. And she goes to another college. I'll ruin the story. I never see her again. But I had it in my head that was the girl, right? So I kept building on this. And, over the next year, I'm like, I guess we'll have kids. And then I think, well, what will their names be? So I start naming them. And then they have middle names. And then they have personalities. And then I know what they look like. And then I start talking to them in my head. And then I start living out my life from the future in my head. So, like, I'm literally going to hockey games, watching my son play hockey, and then having a conversation with him after the game, thinking that I'm just getting a little sneak preview of my life from the future, and that it's all actually going to happen in real time. So that's a little troublesome, right? Especially considering it's never actually going to happen. And then that voice in my head that I thought was so great and amazing, turns out that voice wasn't going to go anywhere. That voice was going to stay with me eventually, all day, all the time, constantly, even when I'm trying to go to sleep, it wouldn't leave me alone. Just, I think, it's constantly insulting me and reading my thoughts, and I have no privacy, and it's just constant. And I'm trying to go to sleep thinking I'll get some relief if I can just sleep, and it won't let me sleep. Just at me. Yeah, really a struggle. And, I mess up college. I'm not going to some of my classes, and I get sent back home with my folks, and that doesn't go well. I'm like destroying the house, and I'm convinced that I should be more like primitive people. So I'm on guard all the time, and I'm thinking I should be afraid of everything, and it makes me sort of like have violent tendencies, and so like I'm facing off with my dad, thinking like this is a good thing. This is giving him primal energy. So I have these unusual ideas, right, that are not helpful to me. Eventually, some mental health people come into the home, drag me off in cuffs. I end up in the hospital. I end up in jail. Over the next 10 years, I'm in and out of jail and the hospitals on court orders, forced on medications. I was put in restraints a couple times, and all bad experiences. And it made me really angry towards the mental health system. To me, the mental health system was the people responsible for me getting dragged off in cuffs, put on medications that made it where I couldn't move, put in restraints, which was traumatizing to me. To me, that was like being claustrophobic and put in a coffin. It was very scary. So mental health was my enemy. So it turns out, towards the end of that 10 years that I mentioned, I'm doing drugs every day, hard drugs, actually crack cocaine. And one thing that happens is because I'm either strung out on drugs or wanting more drugs or high on drugs or trying to get more, the voices aren't really bothering me. But it's obviously not a good solution because I'm fighting friends over cigarette butts. I've got no food because I get a little food card for food, right? And I sell it as soon as I get it, and I've got no food for the month. So dinner is mustard out of the refrigerator, out of the bottle, and that's what I'm having for dinner. So ultimately, I get tired of it. I'm like, something has to change. Life is worth more than this. My family, in the meantime, has been working on their own recovery because they would try to help me, and I was like, I didn't want to hear it. I would try to talk them out of money. That's the best I could do. They didn't fall for it. But they got into something called National Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI for short, which was kind of their own recovery because they could help other people, they could help other families, they could do something positive. But eventually I was able to see what they were doing from a distance and be like, maybe there is some kind of hope for me. Maybe there's something I can do. So I thought, I still want a family someday. And I made a promise to that future family, whatever they were, not the family I dreamed up, obviously, but some kind of family. I made a promise to them, I'm going to get clean. So I stayed up all night because I thought if I go to sleep, I might change my mind. And I called the mental health team and I said, I've been using this whole time. They said, yes, obviously. And then they got me into a rehab, and I got into a recovery home that helped me stay away from those environments with the drugs. If I went back to that apartment, I would have been right back to using, but I was able to stay out of that. And eventually got clean and heard about this peer support job, which meant if I could get some recovery under my belt and do well, I could help other people do the same thing. And that was pretty interesting, especially considering I had pretty much no job resume. So I thought I'll start with that because all that was available was just entry-level jobs, and I was 30 years old. Excuse me. And, at this point, I'm 30 years old. Is it really likely I'm going to have this wife with 7 kids and I'm 30 years old? It's not likely, right? And so I slowly start to let go of that idea. And at this time also that voice that would not leave me alone, I finally said to that voice, I said, what about you? I mean, you're so angry with me. You want to hurt me all the time. What about you? And that voice actually opened up to me and said, you know, I'm hurting too. I'm suffering. And I shifted to being a support to that voice. I started talking to him and like, how can I help you? And I no longer wanted revenge. All this time I wanted revenge. I wanted to get back at him for torturing me all that time. And that was gone. It didn't matter anymore. I just wanted to help him. And so I was able to help him. And to this day, he's like, hey, we're battle buddies, right? And it's just a pleasant experience now. Compassion took over, you know. And now I have become a peer support. I joined a recovery group and met this girl that was pretty interesting, and we crossed paths for a couple of years and sort of had a distant respect for each other, and I ultimately got married, and she had 2 kids when we got married, and we had 2 kids together. We adopted a 4-year-old, and my stepkids have 2 grandkids, so I'm up to 7 kids, which was what I was working towards. They're all real. I can show you pictures. And I also run Hearing Voices Network meetings in the community as well as in the psychiatric hospital. And I tell people that having compassion for voices can be a way to get leverage to deal with distressing voices, and can be a healing experience, which is a technique that's actually recognized across the whole world and something called the Hearing Voices Network. And I work with my wife. We do mental health projects together, and it's a great experience. Early on in my recovery, I actually got involved with Power Group and went around telling my story, which at that time was not a lot of recovery, but a lot of, talking about my struggle in the mental health system and how poor my experience was, and that I wanted to work towards change. And here I am full circle running Power Group now, and things are much better. And what we do is try to create something positive. We try to educate. We try to inspire hope. And I'm really grateful to be here and grateful to see this full room of inspired people. So thanks for having us. And I don't know, it's probably on the agenda, but there'll be time for questions later. So thank you.
Thank you both for your very heartfelt and inspiring stories. Now to talk about the offering. Your contributions are a tangible commitment to the vision and the mission of UUCC. Each time you give, you renew this commitment. Your support is entwined with all that we believe and all that we do here together. There are a few ways to give. You may mail a check to the building. You may give electronically through the church website. You can use the Vanco app on a smartphone or a tablet, or you can place your offering in the basket as the ushers bring it around. And now it's time to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our closing words today is a poem from Mary Oliver. I'm sure many of you know it. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.